Alrighty, your man is back. Jeez Louise, there is a massive storm going on over here. I've rarely seen this amount of rain coming down this summer. I guess it's very nice for the farmers that live around me. There's also a serious amount of lightning and thunder going on, but as long as the internet works, I'll be happy. It seems that you guys are massively voting in favor of Serral. 1.3 million against 300k. Guys, they're 1-1. And even in the series that Clem lost, it went to distance, all 7 maps. And Clem did take the 3-2 lead over Serral. I don't think this should ever be 5-1. We have the end of September. Summer is stretching it a bit. Yeah, but we've had a very warm September. Wonder, guys, how could that be? Alright, the nerds are ready. 9 p.m. exactly. I said 9 p.m. all along, but obviously we never know how it goes in the Big Brain Bout. Sometimes we're a bit ahead of schedule, sometimes we're a bit behind. But it is 9 p.m. sharp, and we're going to kick things off with Serral versus Clem. Yona was very concerned that towards the end. Is Roddy ready? Yona. Roddy is always ready, as long as he's in the game. Game 1 is played on Babylon. I hope that the man is not too worried about whether or not I am ready. Let's do it, guys. The Big Brain Bouts main event, a rematch of BASILISK Big Brain Bouts number 10. Back then, it was a 3-0 in favor of Serral. They played on Stargazers and 2 of those other very old maps. Recently, it's been very close and very competitive between these two. I hope it's going to be a freaking awesome series, like Masters Coliseum was, and obviously how that best of 7 over at Piggy's tournament was.
Let's get it on.
I hope you guys are excited. I feel like there's some good vibes in the chat right now. You guys love it when we get to see these two.
Round 1, fight!
In the top left side, the man who already revealed that he was going to be playing in this Big Brain Bouts in our little WTO interview we had after he won the Masters Coliseum. The first finish Zerg was excellent today, guys. Some of the best mixer that I've ever seen. How will this man look tonight? Probably pretty excellent too, because doesn't he always? Representing Basilisk, this is Serral. The farmers are happy, the chatters are happy, Roddy is happy, he's back after spending a couple of days in Bulgaria, which was a lot of fun. I know you guys were asking me about it before when we had some fights, but yes, I had a lot of fun in Bulgaria. I met lovely people, so it was a great time. Even if it was a very short trippy, it was a lot of fun. In the bottom right side, guys, we are looking at the main base of the man that everyone talks about for all the right reasons. Representing Team Liquid, the one and only
Liquid Clem.
I love you guys asking about the patch at the moment. The patch is out on the test server. We are not playing on the new patch. We're not playing on the new maps yet because I agreed on doing it on the old patch and the old maps. Maybe next Big Brain Bouts, upcoming Friday. I'm willing to do new patch and new maps for the very first time, but we're not going to do that right now. Tonight, still on the old patch, the old map pool. Perhaps the last time that we get to see these two duke it out on our current map pool and our current map. I think that's okay. I've always liked this current map pool. I was moaning a little bit, guys, about the previous map pool we had with Inside and Out, Waterfall, and Moon Dance. That was actually, for me personally, the least enjoyable map pool in a very long time. I felt that too many maps were tiny, too many maps played out in a very similar way. Do you guys hear that? It's crazy. Feels like there's a war going on over here. But it's just the weather, I hope. This map pool I'm completely okay with. Even though at this point, I have kind of seen it, right? Especially when it comes to playing on it. It's like, oh, okay, I'm ready for something else. But when it comes to watching the very best out there, and these two obviously are the very best, I still really enjoy it. Much, much better than the one we had prior to this one. The main event in the Big Brain Bouts is always for 200 bucks. The winner gets 150 bucks. The loser still gets 50 bucks for playing for a single best of 5. The only thing I forgot to get, guys, is get myself one more drink. But that's okay. We can do that after game 1. Serral gets a very early Roach Fawn here, but this is not totally the same as he has played it out in some of these other games that I've seen him play. Because he does have a very quick third hatchery. So what is this all about? Because this is not the 2-base lair opening where he gets the 3rd base a little bit later. He gets 3 hatcheries very quickly, but he's still playing it without Zergling speed and goes into quick roaches. Thank you to my man Sybil for the 14 months. I appreciate it. And SmartGF. SmartG, sorry I didn't respond to your DM yet, mate. I did see it, and I promise I will get you your card. One way or the other, if you really want that very ugly Roddy WCS card, I will get it to you. I am still upset to the day of today that they used that picture Because right now, sure, I look a bit beat up. I'm old. But back then, I was a young, handsome, beautiful man. And I don't know why Blizzard did me dirty with that terrible WCS card. But if you want it, I'll get it to you. Clem guy, by the way, guys, gets the first active creep tumor and should be able to get the second one with a grenade. He's now waiting, guys, for that grenade to be available. I'm surprised that he doesn't go for it. Huh. I really thought he would go for it, guys. Unless he still knows where it is. That's surprising, though. I thought he would. Okay, maybe he felt he couldn't do it. Maybe the cooldown was too long. I'm surprised that he didn't stick around there, because that Cryptum was so close to dying. Maybe he thought he already had it. Serral already on 50 drones, now has 9 roaches on the way. 9 roaches, by the way, before a lair. So this really is very different to what he was doing before. Meanwhile, Clem just has the triple CC set up, double E-base going down, a 2-1-1. Yeah. I mean, you never want to doubt Serral, but if I look at this setup right now, 5 minutes into the game, and it's a different Zerg and a different Terran, I feel like, I kind of like where this goes for the Terran most of the time. I think it's going to be so hard for the Zerg to get a proper army out. But obviously, Serral has been able to do everything that he wanted to do, has been able to get away with everything that he was thinking of, so this really shouldn't be that bad. Stim is done, combat shield gets fired up immediately afterwards. Obviously, there are enough roaches here for Serral. Maybe off creep. Okay, Clem thinks about stimming forward, gets a couple of them, can't really stick around for too much longer. I guess not a bad initial trade. 3 Marines for 3 roaches. The roaches are slightly more expensive. Might get another bonus overlord here. Like, these are the little things that can really skip or turn the skills into Clem's favor down the line. As Clem finds a queen too, picks up all of these units, evacuates out immediately. Reaper gets a very good idea of when this 4th base is being taken in the bottom left. I'm kind of liking the way that Clem is playing so far, even though nothing too dramatic has happened in this game. And it's way too early to say that anybody has it or someone is dead. 6 minutes and 30 seconds in, I'm kind of feeling the way that Clem is playing. Clem throws down a scan, but he only gets a single creep tumor, so it's hard to imagine that he's very happy with that. Well, they blind Serral bias is the best bias. I mean, obviously over here, guys, on a team, or as a member of Team Basilisk and in a Basilisk event, we'd love it if Yona does well, but I love Clem way too much to ever do him dirty and cheer against him. I just hope that we all win as StarCraft 2 fans, which I know is very lame and sounds very generic, but these two from time to time have absolute bangers against one another, and this is what we hope for here on the Friday night. And whether it's Clem winning or Serral winning, I just hope it's going to be awesome and that you guys are on the edge of your seat. Clem is, I think, doing a very good job in not throwing away any Marines. Serral obviously has done a very good job in not losing any drones, and that's very important. Like only losing 4 roaches and a queen, yeah, that's pretty acceptable. There's a lot of potential in the Terran army. There's a lot of potential in medevacs and trying to find roaches out of position, but I think so far Serral has done a very, very good job of having units right where they need to be as he drops a couple of corrosive balls. Clem unloads on the high ground over here on the bottom side of the map. The nice thing for me about a best of 5 like this between these two guys is that I also feel like it really is going to test my observing skills. Because you know there are very rarely just 1 or 2 fights happening at a time. And then on top of that, while they are battling so much with one another, really pushing each other to the limit, of course, most of the time it's flawless macro behind all of this. Micro, I think, should be kind of close to flawless as well, but eventually things are going to get messy just because these two are both so incredibly good that eventually you're going to force out some mistakes. The upgrades of Yona are pretty sexy. And that 8 minute and 30 second hive. Clem, I wouldn't do this, mate. There's a couple of Hydras waiting as well. Clem is still just going to go for it. 1 medevac died with a couple of units still inside of it. It feels to me that Serral has more than enough to deal with this. Uh-oh. I mean, that drop was already scouted. It was kind of obvious that it was coming. And Clem thought he could find an opening there and just unload on top of a couple of queens. But it wasn't just queens. There were a few Hydras in the mix too. And Serral now says, Rory, you still like it for Clem? Well, Not that much, guys. Hive done, Vibe is on the way. Lurk is morphing. Like, no. I don't love it all that much for the 1-1 Marine player. We do have a few tanks and Vikings on the way for Clem, but that was a big victory. Clem has actually lost more resources than Serral in a 9-minute 20-second game in TVZ. That is pretty terrifying if you're Clem. There is no other way to put it. Babylon is a map where once you get your hands on 4 bases, you get a Sensor Tower, a Ghost Academy, you can potentially turtle for a long time, but then getting a 5th is going to be very hard. I mean, Clem does have that 4th base coming online as we speak, as he does find a tiny opening. Can he pick up these Marines? And nope, he's too busy focusing on the drop in the main. This time around, though, a much better way to drop into the main. There is a lurker there in the back. All the roaches. Serral still has a lot of roaches. This is one thing to keep in mind that is actually not good for Serral, because it's very hard to win fights when you're maxed out if you're on 35 roaches. So what we are probably going to see in the next 2-3 minutes is that Serral will try to, of course, find some value out of roaches and ravagers. But I think ideally he wants to get rid of some of that roach supply and eventually get some better units, because 70's army supply of roaches is not all that hot. These tanks, by the way, are in a very sweet spot. The lurkers have both of the upgrades. Clem still has a couple of Marines in the center of the map. 6 Dropper Lords. Okay. Serral gets in range, gets not 1 but 2 tanks, so that is obviously nice. Marines in the back, find an Overseer. Would love to get a Viper. Does not quite get that Viper. Clem actually has a 10 worker lead over Serral right now, but does Serral really need all that many drones if this is the style that he's playing? And he already has 2,700 minerals. Clem! Ooh. Couple of left behind lurkers, getting some good shots off. Few Marines dying, but what goes for the roaches obviously goes for some of the basic bio units as well. Eventually, Clem wants to get way more ghost against the lurker style that he's going up against. And it's not as dire for Clem right now as it was a while ago, but it's mostly because Serral was playing it out very defensively. I think Serral was in an amazing spot at one point. Is still in a more than fine spot. A couple of Marines finding a lurker there. That's obviously nice. I don't know if Clem actually saw all those Dropper Lords. Is there an opening here, guys, for a couple of roaches and ravages with 2 tanks, a couple of ghosts, more tanks coming on the way? It's important for Clem that he doesn't over-defend this location, though, because this is obviously going to be a problem. We're going to have a lurker drop. It's 6 lurkers heading towards the main base of Clem. Serral is going to get rid of a couple of these roaches. I think he got 1 ghost, 1 tank there in return, not a whole lot. But what we do have, guys, is 6 lurkers being dropped into the main base of Clem, on top of some missile turrets, a Ghost Academy, a couple of depots. Can the Ghost clean this up quickly? A single Liberator would be very nice here, but we don't have a Lib yet. Okay, tank gets sieged up. You don't want to lose a Ghost Academy. That's definitely a building you don't want to lose. Has a lot of HP, though. Not too bad for Clem, I think, guys. In the end, he gets the majority of these lurkers. Lost a depot, a couple missile turrets, but not too big of a deal. This is live. Everything is always live on this channel, mate. Roddy doesn't do the replay casting. If it's ever not live, mate, it will be in caps lock written on the screen, but it is always live. Where's Clem's gas? He's spending it. He's building a lot of ghosts, Vikings, tanks. As we have a parasitic bomb going down on a couple of these Vikings, and the Vikings are going to fall. How high is the ghost count? 13 ghosts. I mean, if Clem does a good job in keeping them alive, he might actually be fine. This doesn't look all that bad so far for Clem, even though he's forced to temporarily lift up this command center. Yona, I don't know about this. As he brings the Hydras in range, does get 1 or 2 of the ghosts. Units lost resource tab. We can now see that Serral has lost 3,000 resources more. 2-minute delay, I mean, that's still kind of live, right? I'm live with the 2-minute delay, so that you guys see me with a delay, but there is no delay here, because I know Clem and I know Serral. And of course, they're never ever going to take advantage of that. A couple of the ghosts are somewhat exposed in the front. We don't have personal cloaking yet. I find that a bit surprising. I have seen a very decent amount of late game TVZ lately, as Clem actually got a bit too close there to the lurkers. For the upgrade of the Ghost, personal cloaking, is so late, and I don't get it. It's one of the best things about Ghost. Because basically Serral is forced to bring 5 Overseers every single time he attacks. Overseers are derpy, they're gonna fly in range of Marines and missile turrets. Crazy to not have that upgrade. We have 2 Vipers, 6 Lurkers. The Serral is going to shove it down. There's a lot of Lings and Banes coming in from the top right. But I think that Clem is in a perfectly fine spot here. As long as he can keep the Ghost safe. There are a few more Banelings. Repair your Planetary, Clem. I think if you repair it, you keep it alive. And Clem will repair it and keep that Planetary alive. Beautiful unit positioning there by Clem. And obviously, like, Serral has a lot of money in the bank. I don't want to say he got impatient, but maybe he just felt, I need to make something happen. But that wasn't it. I forgot what it was earlier when it came to the units lost resource difference, 4k or something. It is now 7,000 resources more that Serral has lost than Clem. Now Serral has been mining a bit more throughout the last 10 minutes of this game. But that is obviously an interesting number to keep an eye on. A 7k resource difference. As Clem has successfully stabilized on 5 bases. Is now getting a couple of extra starpers. What? Oh, he's killing his own... like, what am I looking at? Seems that Clem felt he had a few too many SCVs, so he's getting rid of a couple of them. Still has 80. So now the 82. The Great Aspire has finished up for Iona, but I don't know if this is really a moment that I want to see the Great Aspire. 21 freaking ghosts. Yeah, the hold was beautiful around the planetary. The unit positioning was just perfect by Clem. Serral had a decent amount of Links and Banes come in like through this little choke point, but it was just not enough to really scare the Ghost. Leftover Spore Crawler from that base earlier. Is Serral in trouble, guys? Yeah, the no cloak is super odd, but if we just ignore the no cloaking part, Clem has 21 freaking Ghosts. And obviously fighting right before a planetary fortress is done is very nice, because that actually really allows your Lings and Banes to shine. So maybe this is going to be a much better fight for Serral, but going up that ramp is difficult. A couple of Ghosts did go down, and at least he delayed this base from becoming a planetary fortress, but... 11 Corruptus. Serral at this point is maxed out, so he will need to get rid of a few more supply before he can even think about Broodlords. But I don't know, Broodlords are really all that intimidating. I think Serral is in trouble. Even though he's maxed out, he's got 3,000 minerals, 2,000 gas, so it's so silly to say that, but we obviously know how terrifying late game TVZ can be from the Zerg's point of view. And I don't know how Serral is going to kill all these Ghosts that are so well protected by some Liberators. Still 9 tanks on the map too. The final few Lurkers are going to get picked up. We have advanced ballistics on the way. Now Ghosts are not the most mobile army, and 2 Thors get found in the center of the map. That's a lovely little pickup there for Serral. That's gonna make him feel pretty good about it. As he gets 10 Broodlords at once. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Clem already has a good counter for Broodlords. Unless the Ghosts are somehow not able to stay where they need to stay. Losing the 2 Thors is a bit painful. There's only a single Viking, so... perhaps there is a moment for these Broodlords to shine, but I don't really see it. And the big EMP, of course, as well. We now have 7 Infestors, though, guys. So even though 4 of them just got EMP'd, we have a few more Infestors that should have some energy for Fungal. I don't know if this is really the position that the Broodlords want to find themselves in. But a couple of the Broodlings are going to make it a bit harder, but the first few snipes have landed. Pew, 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 pew. Good saves there by Serral. Keeps a couple of the Broodlords alive. Serral is the one with a bank. Serral is maxed out, but it still feels that he has to take on a close to invincible army. A few more snipes are going to land. There is a tiny... whoa, okay, there's a tiny fungal that actually kills a couple of these Ghosts. And the tank friendly fire blows up a few of the tanks as well of Clem. So that was something, but Clem is now just going to replace those units he lost with some Liberators. But this is the moment that Serral feels he can get on top of this setup of Clem. Lends a fungal, lends a blinding cloud. Ghosts are forced to run for hills, and the Ghost count has taken a very serious hit. We have gone from 21 Ghosts to 10 Ghosts. And that was by far and away the best fight that Serral has taken in a very long time. Maybe Clem got a bit overeager thinking that his setup was invincible there, but and with all the tanks that clumped up, it clearly wasn't. Excellent unit positioning by Serral, who still has 8 of those Broodlords, 5 Infestors. Morphing a lot of Banelings, guys. Is thinking about making some magic happen. There are 6 Hellbats on the map with Blue Flame. If Serral gets this planetary, then obviously Clem is in trouble, but this is Fort Knox. It seems so hard to go for it, but Serral is gonna go for it, and let's see if the Baneling count is high enough. We've got tanks on the high ground. The ghosts are running for the hills, literally up a hill. Planetary will fall, though. So I'd say that's a big W for Serral. With all the bases he's got in the top right side, and like I do sometimes miss, guys, even just a few Marines YOLOing towards the base. These bases are so naked, so exposed. I feel like there is an opportunity there for Clem. Serral getting that base is big. Now there are a few more command centers, 2 regular command centers, 9 orbitals and 3 planetaries. So 1 base is not the end of the world for Clem, but going from 21 ghosts back to 10 ghosts, and that is very painful. A lot of the Liberators died too in that previous engagement. And Serral has honestly kept it at 7k for a long time. So Serral losing 7,000 resources more than Clem. But at this point, if you look at the minimap and you look at the income advantage that Yona has created for himself in the last 7 minutes, well, then 7k doesn't sound all that bad. 21 is way too many. There is no such thing as too many ghosts. I refuse to believe that there is a thing as too many ghosts. What's good against ghosts? Oh my goodness. By the way, guys, I don't think it can land a fungo though, right? Is there potential? Pew, 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 pew. And we are back up to 16 ghosts. The Liberator count is a lot higher now than before as well. The thing is, I think if it unburrows, doesn't it die immediately? Can you get the fungo off, guys, before the tanks kill it? This could be so sick. Oh, wait. This is insane that this investor is just sitting here. Serral has a crazy amount of vision. As another scan goes down.
Hive cluster under direct assault.
All the ghosts are going down the ramp. Liberator's making some good progress. Now it's 143 army supply. Previous fight went excellent for Serral, but it seems that the next one is going to be even harder than the one before. Clem does throw down a scan in the top right, and he takes a look. Is that base open? A couple of Hydras are on patrol. This base is going to fall. There is nothing that Serral can really do about it. That Queen will obviously die too. Infestor is still right on top of this army, and it's waiting. It's out of range of... No, not any tanks. 1 fungo connecting with 4 ghosts there, guys. Second fungo. Can keep the units in place. I like how Clem is sniping Overseers. And he does have cloaking now, by the way. I missed it. Oh, there we go. As he neuros the ghost, lands an EMP. So he reduces the amount of energy on a decent amount of ghosts, but cannot land the magical fungo. Little EMP is nice, but that really only buys you time. 12 ghosts remaining. Ghost count is a little bit lower now than it was before. 10 ghosts remaining. 4 more being built. Serral has an insane bank as a Neuroparasite goes up. A couple of snipes are going to land on these infestors though. Most of the Broodlords have died. The Lynx, Banelings and Hydras coming in, and honestly doing alrighty at first, but the tank line is so deep. There are still a couple of Liberators all the way back. And what a save, by the way, by Clem. Clem saves 2 Thors, guys. One on 4 health, the other on 40. I mean, we might want to repair those bad boys because they're pretty expensive. Serral lost pretty much everything he has. He does have 5.4k minerals and 1800 gas, but 1800 gas isn't really all that much. I mean, Serral lost a lot more than 1800 gas in that previous engagement. And where he did such a good job in keeping the gap at 7k for quite some time, now all of a sudden it's a 15k difference. Clem still looking pretty powerful. As now the Lurker then gets picked off as well. The Hydra then is going to fall. We've got a nuke landing in the top right side. A couple of ghosts do get caught by these Zerglings. We're going to take a little look at this nuke. Serral was aware of it. Well, not that nuke. Yeah, the biggest problem here is the lack of gas that Serral is currently working with. Only 1,000 gas in the bank. Couple of links. Can they get at least the tanks and the ghost? Yes, that's actually pretty good. But perhaps we need more than pretty good right now. How many mine? Why don't we take these guys? Don't we really desperately need these? Feels like a missed opportunity to not mine some gas when you have this amount of minerals in the bank. 24 minutes in, I think it's looking fantastic for Clem, and that's mostly just because Serral has a serious gas problem. It's going to be forced to rebuild the Hydra then as well. He lost the Hydra Den over here together with the Lurker Den and the Infestation Pit. And Babylon is just so freaking choky that 2 Liberators make it almost impossible to go through a ramp. Tanks are in a very good spot. Clem has now landed an orbital on the bottom left. Serral is immediately there to get on top of a couple of these SCVs. Should be able to get that tank as well, because this tank is all by itself, but seems that Clem doesn't care all that much. That's Serral's current army. We have 19 Hydras, 79 Lynx. Wait. Guys, we have no Adrenal Glands, by the way. What is up with nerds for getting Adrenal Glands in the Big Brain Bouts? Oh, yeah. I'm missing something. And I looked at those Lynx attacking the tank, and I was like, that's a bit underwhelming. As we are going to go for it, though. With or without Adrenal Glands, we have Hydras getting a couple of the Liberators. Gee, that is so many circles. It is just an absolute insane amount of freedom, and I can't believe how well Serral actually is doing for a little while. But eventually the Liberator line goes back a little too deep, and he is forced to tap out. It is Liquid Clem who takes the 1-0 lead in a game where 522 Zerglings died, and there was no Adrenal Glands. This is honestly becoming a bit of a tradition, guys. On the Friday night, Big Brain Bouts, you put a Zerg in the main event, and they forget Adrenal. Vanya still takes the crown, with losing 1100 Zerglings before getting Adrenal Glands. And I don't know if Adrenal Glands really would have made a difference in this game, but obviously not having it doesn't help. That's why he's the one as everyone is talking about. Forgetting Adrenal as a meme. Even Reynor forgot it for a little bit in one of the games that we watched him play. I don't know if that was Big Brain Bouts. I don't think it was, or maybe it was. I remember you forgot it once, but then you immediately got it afterwards. And you were joking, and you said that you were trying to win without it. Well, I don't know if that was Big Brain Bouts. Maybe it was. No, he did forget. Yeah, he had an army of like 140 Lynx with +3 melee and no Adrenal. Then he lost the fight, and then he immediately got Adrenal. Vanya still takes the crown in his game on Dragon Skills against Spirit, where he lost over 1,000 Zerglings. And then eventually, guys, at the very, very, very end, after like 40 minutes, he finally got Adrenal Glands. And I asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, it was weird. I took all these fights, and I know it's possible to lose them, but I just didn't kill a unit, and I don't understand. I was like, why am I losing every single fight so one-sidedly? And after losing 1,000 Lynx, he's like, maybe I forgot Adrenal Glands. And then he got it, and then he immediately won the next fight very convincingly and won the game. That was one hell of a game. We also had one hell of a game won between these two. Let's hope that Royal Blood will deliver too.
Round 2, fight!
Bottom left side of Royal Blood, we are looking at the main base of the Masters Coliseum 6 champ, and obviously still alive and kicking in the Pigsty tournament as well. He has an excellent 2023. Some people think it's not his best year because of IM Katowice and Gamers 8. But if you take those two tournaments away, he really has been fantastic in pretty much every single thing he has played in. This is Basilisk Serral. Also got a few nice rewards for being the MVP of his very first WTL Code S season. Got a couple nice bonuses for that. I think it was the best record that anyone has ever had in that league. In the top right side of Royal Blood, we are looking at the main base of the Frenchman, who managed to get the best of Serral in Masters Coliseum, but lost in a 7-game nail-biter, 3-4, in the Pigsty tournament. Wanted to set the record straight here on the Friday night once and for all. Already won one map more than he did last time on the Friday night at Big Brain Bouts number 10. The one and only
Liquid Clem.
I was wondering if it's not better to view with health bar, damage only. Well, there are obviously some people who prefer to watch with damage only, but I've had a couple of polls, because I am not ultra passionate about it, but I prefer this. But if, let's say, like 70-80% of the people are like, no, damage is better, then I would go damage. But I've had multiple polls in the past when doing certain tournaments, and the vast majority of the votes went for health bars always on. Now, obviously, you can make everyone happy. Some people prefer it like this. Some people prefer it the other way around. I let the people choose, and people chose this. And honestly, I agree with this decision. We can do another poll, but we're not going to do that right now. But if you guys want to do a poll on one of the following days, maybe on Sunday, guys, I'm casting the Cuckoo tournament. We can do a poll. I prefer it like this because I think it's a bit more... it's easier to deal with the energy bars in particular. And I just like it more in certain situations because damage can look a bit different. I don't feel ultra passionate about it. I just let the people choose. And the people chose this. Every now and then, this channel is a democracy. On every other moment, I rule it with an iron fist. I can't speak. Too much hype. Too much excitement. So you're a dictator? I'm not a dictator if I let the people choose. It's not my fault they chose something that you don't enjoy, mate. It's kind of like how democracy works, you know? You can vote for a certain party, but the other party can still win. That has very little to do with a dictatorship. Roach 1 going down for Serral as once more he does have that very quick triple hatch set up. So Serral has adjusted his opening a little. Now, I watched the best of 7 a tiny bit as Clem tries to get the second creep tumor. He does get the second one, but he loses the Reaper. So minus 2 creep tumors, minus a Reaper. Because there was a moment, guys, where if Serral would go for an opening that looks like this, he would stay on 2 bases a bit longer, gets the quick lair, and then he goes up to 3 bases. It seems that he's now slightly more fond of this. It did get him in a very playable spot, obviously. It was the second tumor, no? He already got the first one, and then he got the second one, but then obviously the Reaper died. Alien Cloak Banshee is an opening that we are obviously very familiar with, but I most of the time see this build when the Terrans are very confident and they just want to make sure nothing too weird happens. So Clem's showing a lot of variety in his opening so far. Serral having a very similar approach. Maybe made the roaches a little bit earlier, but yeah, I don't know if Serral is like that serious about this. He has 9 roaches. He's droning up behind it. I feel like this is somewhere in the middle of a fake, and I am somewhat serious, but the Banshee is out. I wonder what Serral's going to do with these roaches. It seems like he is just going to send them all the way in. One mule did just get dropped. You can see that Clem didn't take it all that serious. We have Hellions on the other side of the map, already killing 6 drones. Make it 8. Make it 10. It is 9 in the end. As now a lot of SCVs are in a tiny bit of trouble, but it obviously means that all these roaches are going to die too. And 9 against 9 pretty much always favors the Terran in my opinion, especially if it's triple orbital. And it is triple orbital. I mean, Serral has a 14 worker lead, but he lost all his roaches. The lair is late. He's obviously going to be forced to build a couple spore crawlers to detect the Banshees. I like it more for Clem than I like it for Serral, but that's just my opinion. Seems that Reynor agrees, but with Reynor you never know if he's memeing or if he's serious in the chat. He has a lot of great comments in the chat, but then every now and then it's like, oh, this game is completely unplayable when the Zerg has 7 times more army supply than the Terran. It's like, yeah, Zerg is dead, there's 2 ghosts left over. It's like 19 Ultras, 14 Vipers, and it's like, no, I see 2 ghosts, the game is over. But I believe that Reynor is serious now when he says Clem is winning, because I do kind of feel that that's the case, but obviously this is not game over by any stretch of the imagination. But I think this early game chaos has favored Clem a little bit over Serral. You can see that these 2 Banshees are going to live up to the potential and the hype. 5 drones, a Roach getting picked off. The Queen could be in a tiny bit of a... Be careful, Clem! Whoa, I thought he was going to lose it. Really thought he was going to lose it there. He was so close to that Spore Crawler, but... Liquid Clement knows what he's doing. Never mind. The man is Jon Snow. He doesn't know what he's doing. He knows nothing. Honestly, I think it's a bit of a shame to lose a Banshee like that, because with the style that Serral is playing, Serral doesn't really have mobile anti-air very early. So it's very annoying for roaches if everywhere they go there are a couple of Banshees on top of them. Makes it a lot harder to justify sending any sort of a roach squad out. So honestly, the only mobile anti-air that Serral currently has is Queens. Almost feels like we're gearing up for some sort of a 1-1 timing. There's only 1 tank. Well, now the Hydralisk then goes down. Overseer is gonna get picked off. Does Clem know already about the hatch in the bottom right? Maybe one of these things where he kind of knows it's there, but he hasn't quite confirmed it yet. Honestly, I think that's a bit silly by Clem. I still think the game is very fine for the young Frenchman, but to lose those two Banshees for honestly not a whole lot against the style that Serral is playing feels like a very big missed opportunity to get some more value out of those bad boys. Or bad ladies. Now roaches are going to be annoying everywhere. But we'll see. It's Royal Blood, it's 8 minutes in, we have a hive tag halfway done. Clem throws down a scan in the main base of Serral and has a very good idea of when that hive is going to finish up. These Marines are going to run into a pretty serious army. Like, it would have been just so nice to have a Banshee on patrol here or have a Banshee on patrol here. You can get a couple of creep tumors too. And once Serral starts splitting up a few roaches, getting the heads up with your Banshees is so nice. A bit shocked to see Clem give up on them that easily. But he does find an opening now, guys, with his 2 medevacs, as Serral has moved the vast majority of his forces into the center of the map, which allows the Frenchman to unload these units, and he was ready to pick up, and he's like, wait a minute, I still see nothing here, so maybe I should stick around a little bit longer. Gets the Queen, gets 2 of those Overlords. We now have Marines and Marauders making some progress as well. The triangle base, this is so hard for Serral to deal with, because he doesn't have a lot of anti-air. 6 Queens is all that he has. Whoa! Oh, can you believe it? How often do you see that, guys? The anticipated corrosive ball. The Finnish sniper. That's sick. That's very rare that you see that. Especially on this level, guys. Well. That doesn't necessarily mean that Serral is now absolutely crushing. That's a nice little feels-good moment. I still got it. But that doesn't really change the reality of the situation. But he does have 5 Lorkers on the way. Seismic Spines is being researched. There is still some creep happening in the center of the map. That's definitely not all bad news for Serral. The 74 drones feels a tiny bit underwhelming, but it kind of is what it is. Clem has been enjoying finding random overlords everywhere. Knows about the first few lurkers that have now revealed themselves in the center of the map. Clem's still throwing down scans. Was maybe thinking about throwing another one here, but Serral's army is here. It is worth, guys, to keep an eye on the adrenal glands. We don't have it yet. No, I don't think that is a mistake, because obviously at this point it's a whole lot more about the lurkers, hydras and whatnot. Getting a couple vipers. Finding some good value out of your roaches and ravagers. Clem has 1 ghost, guys. Lands an EMP, 1 ghost, and he still lands an EMP. And he actually gets the viper. That's so big, there is still enough energy to get a blinding cloud off, but the lurkers are not here to help, so the Marines will stand their ground and protect these tanks. Cool fight between these two here. One of the lurkers is kind of in range of the middle line. A couple of SCVs are dying. Serral has moved 1 more lurker towards the right side. Clem's tank is in position. This is all without adaptive talents, by the way. The upgrade that allows the lurkers to burrow and unburrow and move a little bit quicker. Nice job there by Serral with his Ravagers. Finds that 1 tank. But the ghost count is increasing. So guys, now is kind of the time that we do really need to get adrenal glands. I don't want to make this the story of the entire best of 5, but we're going to make more links. We're going to add a Baneling nest. We're going to morph links into Banes. And we're not going to get it now, though. After not getting it in the entirety of game 1, I'm going to be a little bit concerned. Lol. Clem with a little shout out, guys, to Thursday Night Football over here. He's wondering if Serral can make the field goal. Stay tuned. Serral's attempt is brought to you by Miller Lite. Double drop unloading in the corner of the main. The Evo chambers are here. +1 melee is going to get denied. Yes, +1 melee gets denied. Does the second one get denied as well? Yes, no +3 armor for you, Yona. At least not for quite some time. In a funny way, this immediately lets Serral finish up, or at least fire up adrenal glands. So at least we've got that upgrade on the way this time around. Ghost count currently at 8. Man, these two nerds are really video gaming tonight. It is rarely a dull series when Serral and Clem are duking it out with one another. That trio we had back then in the Big Brain Bouts, number 10, a little over 35 or almost 40 weeks ago. One of the very few examples I can think of. The nice thing about these two as well is that they've both had their moments where they dominated each other. It can be a 3-0 for Serral one week, and it can be a 3-0 in favor of Clem the following. It's obviously somewhat similar now to Babylon, where it is going to be hard for Yona to eventually find openings. But I think on Royal Blood, it's just a little more doable than it is on Babylon. The problem is though that there's also a lot of bases on Royal Blood. I don't really count bases, but it just feels that Clem is not really in any sort of a hurry. He can just kind of take it one base at a time. As long as Serral is not mining of bases on his side of the map, obviously he's not in any sort of a hurry. We have a single zeroed burrowed Zergling actually denying this command center from landing. So I thought maybe this is my moment to get on top of this base before it becomes a planetary, but I don't really see this going very well. There's a lot of tanks. 13 tanks, 1 Liberator, 4 Vikings, and 16 Ghosts already. We have a speedy overseer heading towards the main. Couple of snipes go off. The Vipers get obliterated. At least a couple of the Ghosts get abducted. Serral's thinking about sending it here, guys, but I have a very hard time believing that this can ever end well. There is a Nidus going up in the main, but that is a meat grinder, if I've ever seen a meat grinder. Is Clem paying attention to the Nidus that's going up in his main? Seems like he is not. And okay, this can definitely complicate things a little bit, guys. I love how he's immediately spacing up the lurkers. Scan. 2 out of 4 lurkers have already been taken care of, but the other 2 are still up. There's a lot of ghosts popping. The ghost can obviously just take care of it. I thought this was going to be very annoying for Clem and kind of an issue, but not much of an issue. We have another Nidus go up on the left side and now one more on the right. So this is obviously very chaotic and stressful to play against, but I mean, Clem is just kind of chilling, man. He's got sensor towers for days. Is he taking? Are you having a laugh, mate? He's got 12 tanks, 17 goals, and 1 million sensor towers. And he's like, yeah, that's nice and all. Then you've got a couple Nidus networks, but I really don't care. I don't know if Reynor has a new modern term for this. I don't think this is quite the piss chilling that Reynor has been talking about, but to me it just kind of feels that Clem is having a bit of a giggle. And he's like, alright, well, I know that I'm bulletproof. Feels unbreakable. Serral's gonna try to see if there is an opening in the center of the map after knowing that all the goals were at the 3rd, and Serral does get the planetary. That is nice. Gets a bunch of SCVs too, got a few of the tanks, but I can't really say that this was for free, right? We're now going to try to see if there's an opening for the lurkers at the triangle base. 8,000 resources more, 7.5k. 7.5k resources more is what Serral has lost versus Clem. We have a Sharking Infestor on the left side. Infestor gets the heads up. This army is here. Nice on Burrow, nice fungal. Perfect cleanup by Yona. I mean, none of this is game ending because obviously it's a lot more about the goals, the tanks, the liberators, but at least a feel good moment. An absolutely picture perfect cleanup on 2 medevacs full of bio. You have 12 Hydras in the mix that have +2 missile attacks with +3 on the way. Serral, guys, with a 6 lurker drop in the corner of the main base of Claymore. In range of the armory, so maybe +3 can get denied. A couple of ghosts are going to make their way over. This is where it's key for Clem that he doesn't send too much. At the same time, oh, Serral's going to try to get on top of this army in the center of the map. A perfect blinding cloud. Nice around as well on a couple of the girls. And that, my friends, is why you go for some of these lurker drops. Not because the lurker drops are winning the game, but this opens the doors elsewhere. And that was, I think, by far and away the best moment that Serral's had throughout the entirety of this game. A beautiful 1-2 punch. Sure, lost a decent amount of units, but he got the goals, got some tanks, gets SCVs and a planetary fortress. An incredibly sweet move by Serral there. And Clem, honestly, guys, feeling very broke at this point. 0 minerals in the bank there for a split second. How often do you see that this late into the game? Serral has an Infestor. He's kind of waiting. Goes for another Nidus. He's still getting some vision, guys, from these Dropaloids, but there is a tank that's going to deny this Nidus from going up. There are some shocking infestors, guys. There's still one more infestor here. Keep an eye on this infestor. Serral will go for it. On barrels, lands another picture perfect fungal, and just like that, we're all tied up. The great Iona Sotala with a couple of beautiful moves there, guys. Just when you think it's going to get difficult to make something happen here. Ah, that was beautiful. Reynor feels that Clem stole his thunder, or stole his moment. Because a lot of Zergs find it very satisfying to see girls die. Clem did not want to give any of us that satisfaction to see all his girls die, but we saw them die. We're all tied up, guys. That makes me happy. That is obviously what we want. That's sick, man, because I actually thought that Serral was going to be in a bit of trouble. It felt that Clem had a very good defensive setup, and I thought it was going to be very hard for Serral to find good openings, but that lurker drop, I think, created the right amount of chaos and stress for Serral to get a perfect fight in the center of the map, and then obviously the follow-up was incredibly sexy too. Serral definitely played that game out, yeah, 100%. Thank you to F Nord for the 1337. That's the second time today, guys, that we get 1337. That makes me happy. Serral says go immediately. He wants to just keep on video gaming. Apparently, Clem is actually taking a look at the replay. Clem did not want to give us the satisfaction of watching all those goals fall. But Clem, however, will go over the entire game on Royal Blood. I think he should be almost ready. Well, I mean, if Clem needs a moment, that's fine. I am completely okay with taking a moment, because these two games were pretty long. Keep an eye on it. I don't know how much time Clem would like. Seems that he's out of the replay and he's going to join immediately. Obviously, if the players want a moment, we will give it to them. But if they want to keep on going, I'm all for it. I like how Indy takes charge of things immediately. He shows up 3 series late, but when he's here, guys, he's in charge of everything. What's the score, chat? 1-1. I identify as a Twitch shadow too. We're all tied up. Thank you, LeBron, for the 9 months. Don't know if it's the actual LeBron or not, but thank you to Virik as well for the 15 months. And I think I already thanked everybody else. We had G Lano, even though I only answered your question, but needless to say, you get my appreciation and my love. Game 3, guys. Ancient Sisterin. We're all tied up after 2.
Round 3. Fight.
In the top right side of Ancient, we are looking at the main base of the man who wants to take a little look at that replay to see where it all went wrong. But I think he knows where it all went wrong. Obviously got caught off guard in the center of the map. Up to that point, it really felt that the game was going well. This is the one and only
Liquid Clem.
And in the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of our Master Colosseum 6 champ, who's obviously going to try to win the Pigsty tournament as well. And soon we'll all have the opportunity to watch him again in the WTL Codas. Well, he will be playing alongside Trigger and Reynor to represent Basilisk. This is Serral. WTL Codas should start in the beginning of October, guys. I kind of thought that it was going to be a long break between the seasons, but it makes me very happy that, you know, it felt like, okay, we had some Code A and open qualifiers, and there were a few other things happening in StarCraft with the Masters Colosseum, but in the beginning of October, we'll start another WTL Codas journey. For the people who are not that familiar with WTL, it is basically the biggest online team league there is for StarCraft 2. All the big orgs send out a team. 3 players will play against each other, and then sometimes there will be an ace match. Serral had an absolutely amazing record in that league last season. Throughout the regular season, it was something like 23 wins and 1 loss. And in the playoffs, he was also very good with an all-kill, won like 7 games in a row. Unfortunately, Solar did us dirty in the end. Solar ruined the Basilisk party, but hey, you can't win them all, and there is always a next time. It all got wrong. You know, maybe if Clem wouldn't have dropped the back of Serral's main, I don't know if he fired up with Reynor before that or not, but I don't think that's really what it is. I wonder if that gave Serral the heads up though, that he had to pay attention to his main, and then he saw a spawning pool not wiggling, and he's like, oh. I might have missed it, but what's going on with the WCS or whatever they call it now? Well, they call it the EPT, and the EPT is still going. Every Monday night, we obviously have the European Pro Tour weekly, we have the Korean weekly earlier that day, the American weekly at night, and soon, on the 15th of October, there will be some regional qualifiers. Then we have the online regionals again with Europe, the Americas, and obviously Korea's GSL. Well, there's an Asian one too. You have the Americas, Asia, and Europe. So 3 big online regional tournaments where everybody can show what they're made of. And then the top finishers will get an all expenses paid journey to Atlanta. And the people that don't make it will still be able to go to Atlanta, but they have to pay for their own hotel flights. And ESL Winter Championships, aka DreamHack Atlanta, is happening in the 3rd week of December, I believe it is. So 1 week before Christmas, there is another big DreamHack this time around in the US of A. So that is what's happening. And then after that, obviously, we're going to get ready for Katowice again. Did that Reaper get anything? No, the Reaper got nothing so far. Oh, maybe get 1 creep to work. Nope. Triple CC opening over here for Liquid Claymore, as we are going to do a swap-a-roo with the Starport. It's going to fire up Banshees. I still think back a little bit of those Banshees on Royal Blood though, guys. Like, I just feel, especially against the style that Serral was playing, there was so much value in those Roaches. In those Banshees, rather. Against the Roaches of Serral. Felt like a bit of a missed opportunity. Clem does get one of the active creep tumors there, so that's nice, but the first few are already doing their thing, spreading their creep. Queens are in the correct position everywhere. 2 more Hellions. Gonna sync up. We have Hellion number 5 and 6 in production. Does Clem think about doing something crazy? As for the first time, by the way, we open up with Zergling speed. And it's obviously very different than what we saw in Game 1 and Game 2. That is probably just has everything to do with the map. When this map pool got introduced, Serral was very quick to say that he loves the green map. And he didn't love altitude all that much. But he did like the green map. So for some of the other maps in the current map pool, he seems to be more fond of the Roach builds. On this one, he still likes old school CVT rather. Is Katowice confirmed? I believe that ESL made a tweet or a post about it where they pretty much confirmed it. The queen positioning so far is perfect, but we're almost used to it when we watch the great Jonas Sotala. The new map pool is excellent though. I don't know if we have a desert map, but the colors of the new map pool are very pleasant to look at. I haven't done too many games on the new maps yet, but maybe the 2 or 3 on the original 7. And honestly, I am a fan. I like it a lot. Banshee number 2 has synced up with the original OG Banshee. We'll see if Clem can actually find some damage out of these early game units. 5 Hellions and the Reaper are gonna think about maybe making a dive for the natural, but Serral is just giving absolutely no openings to Clem here. Clem is trying, he's rotating his units around, he's clearly poking and prodding, as Loco would say, but there is just not a single moment where Clem even could have really thought about going for it. And this honestly, guys, is pretty mental. 2 Cloak Banshees, 6 Hellions and a Reaper, and so far Serral lost an Overlord. That's actually kind of mind-boggling. Now, of course, Clem hasn't thrown away his units, and he would have get a few units if he really would have gone full YOLO Kamikaze. But the fact that Serral has just given absolutely 0 openings so far is spectacular. This might be the first opening that Clem can find, but not even that. Serral created a bit of a wall of a single drone. Is all that Clem so far has to show for all of his efforts in the first 7 minutes. Yona knows what's good for us, guys. This man knows what the people want. And that's why he's the people's champ. Not like Reynor, who waits until there is a big tournament until he finally busts it out. And he never wants to admit it, that Burrowed Baneling's actually very good. Hellions, can they find a little opening? Serral, 7 minutes into the game. Burrow on the production tab. And that makes me happy. Might actually be able to get a very easy cancel on this hatch. Hope for Serral that he's paying attention. Serral is obviously paying attention. Loses a couple of drones in the midst of all of that, but 4 Hellions, 2 Hellbats, and the Reaper have died. The Banshees are still alive, but yeah, they haven't really done anything. Which I guess I like more than suiciding the Banshees, don't get me wrong. There's a couple of low HP Marines guys are going to make a stim forward. They grab 2 of the queens, make it 3. So a few creep tumors getting picked off and 3 queens there with low HP Marines. Great call by Clem. As Clem is going to try to already get a couple of Widow Mines set up. This is going to be an awesome game. Like Widow Mines with Drilling Claws on the side of Claymore. And Burrowed Banelings on the side of Serral. Losing those queens is a little bit problematic, but we'll keep an eye on it. Ooh. Oh, decent Widow Mine shot there, but it is -2 mines, so that's obviously nice. Serral actually already getting like 5 mines or something so far. Yeah, 5 Widow Mines have died in the first 9 minutes of this game. That's actually pretty good, without taking any catastrophic hits. Serral's economy is not all that hot though to be playing this style. And Liquid Clem, we know that he is capable of sniping Banelings for days. And then 8 Widow Mines already. This is definitely scary for Serral. Like, this can go 2 ways. Serral can obviously get an amazing Baneling connection or some Burrowed Banelings, and he can be absolutely cooking. But I also feel like we are 1 bad Widow Mine shot away from just losing this game. And I hope it is not that dramatic, but it absolutely can be. Oh, the Banshees can still help out a little bit at home. Serral chasing here, Widow Mine. First one gets a very good shot off. Second one does a little bit of friendly fire. What have we got over here at the bottom side? Clem stimming a bit on creep. I feel like we have a couple of the Lynx burrowed in the natural, so maybe Serral waiting for Clem to move those units. There are Widow Mines in the mix here. Not the greatest shots there for Clem, so Serral's going to be somewhat happy with that as he cleans those mines up too. 11 Widow Mines already have gone down. Clem finds maybe a little opening in the main base, and Serral, I think, lost track of those medevacs, guys. Serral busy microing these Marines in the corner, in the natural of Clem. That's nice and all, but now there's an army in his main, and look at where the army of Serral is. This is very painful. And the spawning pool right before perhaps Adrenal Glands? No, he's gonna go for Lynx. Could have potentially gone for the spawning pool there. There is one left of Widow Mine. That wasn't as dramatic as I thought it was going to be. Couple of Widow Mines are clumped up there. You want to be very careful. The mines do fire. Ah, this one. Nice split up there towards the end. Thought it was going to be a bit worse, but it's still kind of bad. Has the spawning pool died? No, the spawning pool didn't die. Serral just thought that the spawning pool was going to die. That's why he's rebuilding it. The backup pool. I feel like Serral's in serious trouble, man. Clem is just playing at a very sweet pace. And we haven't even had the absolute craziest Widow Mine hits yet, but it feels that Clem is just everywhere he needs to be. He's doing a very good job in pushing the creep back. And it does really feel that we are 2 or 3 Widow Mine hits away from this game potentially ending. How far do these Widow Mine shots go? All the way from downtown. Serral is now down 35 army supply. Does have Adrenal Glands, but it's just so tough to take good fights. Drops a Parasitic Bomb. Medevacs taking a serious beating, but Clem is playing this out in an excellent manner. All the mines are on cooldown, so if there was ever a moment for these Banelings, this is the moment. But look at these Banshees and how useful they have been. Giving the heads up on the flanks, sniping a couple of these Banelings. So annoying for Serral. Does seem that Clem has lost a lot of his Widow Mines recently, so he's going to be forced to disengage for a little bit, but look at Liquid Clem. A bunch of Marauders, no cancel, and that's when you know that even Serral is having a hard time keeping up with this Frenchman. If he's feeling it, guys, Clem is an absolute animal, and I think it's safe to say that he's absolutely feeling it in this game. Don't lose your Banshee to a Spore Crawler now, Clem. Not after all that praise. That would be such a sad moment. Serral has lost 5.3k resources more with with just Ling Bane. Now a couple Hydras in the mix against the Marine Marauder Widow Mine mix of Liquid Claymore. Clem is now fighting at 2 positions at once. Wasn't really paying attention here. Is clearly a little bit more focused on this fight in the top left. Another Parasitic Bomb has gone down. You need to be careful with those low HP medevacs. Is this then finally that fight that Serral has been looking for as he lands one more Parabomb? Ooh, seems like we had a pretty big Widowmine shot there towards the tail end of all of that. Upgrades are that even between these two? I mean, Serral has done an amazing job in kind of surviving in the last 2 minutes of this game. Because it really looked like this was very close to ending when Clem was everywhere he needed to be. Even got a kill on that hatchery in the bottom side of the map. But Serral hang in there. The man weathered the storm. And he can now potentially turn this into a playable game. Like, I don't think it's looking good for Serral, but, you know, if we get Hive Tech and get a couple lurkers, perhaps the man is allowed to dream as we have a nice engagement here with a couple of Hydras coming in from the top, forcing Clem to pick up all these units once more. Any Serral believers in the chat, guys? Do we believe that Serral can absolutely stabilize and turn this into another banger between these two? Widowmine does not fire. Perhaps a ghost here. No, nice save there by Clem. Obviously fighting near planetaries. I don't think that's something that Serral can really do at the moment. And I hope that he's not thinking about going up that ramp. You can definitely not count the man out if he's maxed out. So, like, Clem still has a little more money in the bank. And has obviously taken better trades, but maybe, guys. Maybe. Clem, at the end of the day, is only a human too. It does seem that there is another Widowmine there that got a good connection on a couple of the links. Clem already adding some additional starports with the fusion core coming online as well. The 3-3 upgrades are about to finish up. And that really is the moment where I think Clem is going to push the issue a little bit harder. The fact that Serral survived the last few minutes the way he did is honestly fascinating. I don't even really know how he managed to do it, but somehow did. Down 35 supply and definitely not having a better army. Did manage to stabilize a bit of defender's advantage. Is now trying to get a couple of favorable trades. Especially, I think, off-grip is going to be very hard. I'd love to see some burrowed banelings. We got very quick burrow in this game, but it was mostly used offensively with a couple of links as a run-by, trying to be a nuisance. And obviously creating a bit of map vision, but I mean, it does take like 17 Banes to kill a ghost, I believe. But still. Ooh, that's painful, guys. A couple of the Hydras morphing into lurkers in the center of the map do get found. As Clem just dies on top of them. There's a Widowmine here in the mix. It doesn't get the best shot off. A few more Liberators going to siege up. Nice abduct. The Banshees are still here. Can we drop a Pharaoh Bomb? Can the Hydras finally take care of these Banshees? Yes. Alright. That's nice. Oh, guys, Serral is actually getting excellent trades. Serral is honestly doing a very good job as we had another Sharking in faster. Clem immediately so paranoid. He's like, well, Infestus again. And he like throws down another scan. He's like, I know there's more out there. But no, that was the only one, Clem. That's kind of funny. He's like, not again. That royal blood PTSD kicking in. Six Liberators at a time and advanced ballistics finishing up. That is obviously going to be pretty terrifying with only 11 Hydras. As we have a few lurkers. But this actually is going to end poorly for Serral. As we do have a lot of SCVs dying here to some Lings and Banes. And this base will not become a planetary yet. But losing those lurkers is painful. Serral's going to try his luck in the bottom side of the map. Good job. With the whole position there, splitting off a single Zergling. Is going to try to get on top of this planetary. Is this the right amount of Banes? I hope it is. Honestly, somewhat close there, but in the end it is good enough as the Banelings blow up the planetary too. Clem says, you get the bottom right, I'll take the top left. There's a few of the ghosts who do end up dying. Widowmine gets a pretty big shot off, and these ghosts were actually in a bit of a problematic position. The Medivacs were not moving there, as there are still so many Banelings on the ground. Jeez Louise. It's just absolute chaos at the moment between these two. I mean, Serral honestly doing an amazing job in finding a couple of those key units that he was looking for. 8 ghosts have now died. So we are 17 minutes into game 3 between these two. The Liberator count is obviously going to be terrifying with 2 Vipers and 17 Hydras. I mean, that might be enough anti-air. Wouldn't hit him. First Abduct goes down immediately. Widowmine shot on the Zerglings is good. Eventually you can scan and kill this lurker with a Widowmine. That would be sick. Serral sets up another Shark King Infestor. This has been an excellent best of 5 so far. All 3 games delivering. And a little panic attack because I believe it's been over 1 hour and 5 minutes. All these games are just so long. Yeah, it is what it is. There's a good chance that this game will go on for at least another 10, 15, 20 minutes. 2 Vipers in the mix. EMP lands though, and I believe the EMP connected with at least one of the Vipers, so no energy for Serral there for a little while. They are maxed out, but it's not a boring game where they're maxed out with a crap ton of minerals in the bank. As the Widowmine fires. Is this enough banelings once more, guys? It feels that it's legit the bare minimum, but it is once more good enough. 1 or 2 banelings spare left over. Clem is going to be forced to lose or sacrifice another base rat as we have a few more Vipers on the production tab. The army supplies are incredibly close. 126 against 120. Serral is now the one with a few more resources in the bank. Has only lost 6,000 more. That's what he already lost like 7 minutes into the game. That really goes to show how impressive the last 12 or so minutes have been on the side of Yona. Personal... Wait, what is that cloaking? Yeah, that's personal cloaking. Oh, the ghosts feel very exposed. There is an infestor as well. That is going to land another Fongo, and the EMP is a little bit too late. I don't know if the Medivacs can save any of these ghosts. Doesn't quite seem to be the case. Serral lands another nice Fongo with a burrowed infestor. Personal cloaking very late. Clem is down to 1 ghost, guys. Kind of think that this maybe is the ultimate moment to get a couple of lurkers, but Serral will just get a few more banelings as he believes in the banes. Ling Bane going down this ramp. Hydra's working on the Liberators. It's starting to really look like Serral has done it. Obviously blowing up those bases. Bottom right, another Fongo from that same burrowed infestor. It is absolutely perfect. And Serral, despite the fact that he was kind of on the ropes in the first 6 minutes of this game, wins a 20-minute game on Ancient. So impressive, because this game was, I think, very difficult to play. It looked really good for Clem, but Serral just doing Serral things. As he takes the 2-1 lead in our main event of the Big Brain Bouts. Number 40 already, guys. Don't forget to show some love to Basilisk. I'm going to go ahead and take a very tiny break, because I was having a little minor panic attack. Because I just realized that we've already been going for 1 hour and 5 minutes. And after 1 hour, some ads play automatically. Thank the Lord they didn't play. So I'll take a 2-minute break. And after that, we'll be back with Game 4 of Serral vs. Clem. In those 2 minutes, guys, show some love to Basilisk. Exclamation mark Basilisk in the chat. It will show you guys either the Twitter or the X if you use that. There is a YouTube channel as well where you can watch all the games back. And some interviews of WTO Code S. And obviously all the games of the Big Brain Bout. So if you ever miss something, you can always watch it back. Give them some love. Tiny break, and after that, we continue. Hype, hype. Alrighty. I am back for Game 4. Obviously, Ancient should have been Serral's map choice. Game 4 will be played on Dragon Skills. I think that's the map that Clem has done alright on against Serral. Would be a pretty perfect end to our Friday. If we can just make this a 5-game series. And whoever wins in Game 5, I don't really mind, but we love a rubber match, guys. This is where the American in me comes out. We need a Game 5. We need a Game 7, but Game 7s are not quite possible in best of 5, so Game 5 is what we hope for. Thank you, Wolfner, as well for the 22 months. I'm a little bit tired, guys. I had a 7 a.m. flight today from Sofia, Bulgaria to Amsterdam, so it was a lot of traveling, but it's been a very nice Friday to come back to, and obviously it's an absolute pleasure to watch these two duke it out. Shout out to Basilisk for giving us another Big Brain Bouts. Let's see what Game 4 will bring.
Round 4. Fight.
2 draws. I think that is pushing it a little. 1 draw, maybe. Small chances. In the bottom right side, guys, playing an absolutely fantastic game 3, where I think the first 7-8 minutes were really not all that ideal. He lost 6,000 resources more than his opponent very early on, but he kept it at that number all the way towards the end, and in the end he got the job done. This is the great Iona Sotala, Basilisk Serral. In the top left side of Dragon Skills, we are looking at the main base of the Frenchman. He is down 1-2, but he was down 0-2 in the Pigsty tournament and then won 3 games in a row. And it seems like he's up to no good, because I believe we're going to proxy a barracks and build a couple of Reapers. The one and only
Liquid Clem.
Why? Just why? I don't get it, guys. Why it's gonna always be so weird? There's a time and a place to be weird. You don't always have to be that weird. Serral's first Overlord is gonna make its way to the other side of the map. Obviously, these guys are world class, and they will see almost immediately that something is a tiny bit off, that certain timings don't line up. And if you just see that this command center is perhaps a little bit later than what it otherwise could be, maybe Serral is able to put 2 and 2 together immediately. Serral is not going for a gasless opening, like he has done in many of those other games that we saw from him, where he prioritizes the 2 bases, get a couple of roaches out, quick lair. This is going to be Ling speed by the looks of it. Also, I'm very curious to see how many Reapers Clem will build. It might just be 3. Serral sending out his first drone. He's thinking about maybe taking this base. That would be somewhat annoying, I feel like, to deal with multiple Reapers then, but... Second Reaper is going to show up very early, and this is obviously where, before the Queen is out, this is very uncomfortable as a Zerg. A couple of Lings are going to get picked off, but if it's only Lings that are falling, it's really not all that bad. One drone does end up dying. It's a little bit of lost mining time, a minus 1 drone. It's more than just 3 Reapers. We have Reaper number 4 and 5, and Clem drops 2 more barracks as well. It's giving me some Beyond vibes. Beyond likes to do that stuff. This can obviously snowball, guys. This can actually turn into a very good situation very quickly for Clem. It's so hard until you have Ling speed to kill any of these Reapers. Serral is just going to do his absolute best. Nice micro on both sides, to be honest. Barracks is now making its way home. So it seems like we're going to stop at 5. This is hard, because obviously you don't have creep connecting your natural towards your 3rd base. 5 Reapers. We do have a serious amount of damage output. Ling speed is close to finishing up. We have 10 Lings at the moment. That's not quite enough, I think, to battle 5 Reapers all by itself. If the Queens can help out a little bit. Oh, Serral is gambling here a little bit. Like, I think if the Reapers go a bit towards here, then these Lings are going to have a hard time. But this can honestly turn into a big victory here, as Clem is going to hop into the main base. But the Queens were already there waiting for these Reapers. So the Reapers fall. Clem in the end really wants to get 1 Queen. Does finally get 1 Queen, but he loses 4 out of 5 Reapers. And obviously Reaper number 5 is always going to fall too, as it feels like there is no way out for this Reaper. And now immediately we need to make sure that we have at least a bit of firepower. And this is where we hope that all of the SimCity practice we've had over the years is going to pay off. Because if there is a gap in this wall, we'd be in trouble. That's a sick call by Serral to leave those Queens on the high ground. I love it. This Overlord Scout in the main base is excellent. So now Serral knows about the additional barracks that have already been built. I feel like Clem should know too, but maybe he's not 100% certain yet. 4 racks is all that Clem currently has to work with. He's going to drop a 3rd command center. Obviously the Lings are not going to bust through here. This is a little bit scary if you're Clem, because you're like, oh my goodness, I really hope for the Lord, for everything, that there is no Baneling nest, because if it's suddenly a couple of Banelings blowing up your bunker, things can spiral out of control real quick. Even if you have 4 racks and your marine count can be high, if the floodgates are opened, it could get dicey. That's not the case, but also not being able to do anything for a little while, not being able to move out, and not being able to slow down creep, force your opponent to maybe make a few more units, is also pretty terrifying. So it's scary if something happens, but it's also scary if nothing happens. So it does end up losing a few more Lings there than I guess he was supposed to lose, but I don't really think that this amount of Marines is all that terrifying. 6 queens, 20 lings. We have 26 additional lings in production. 1 Cryptomor is going to get picked off here, but if Clem does not turn around, I guess he doesn't want to. Is he just going to go for it? That's crazy, no? Oh, he is just going to go for it. He is going to activate Stim. Wants to get a couple of the queens. So far gets a 0. So he lost a couple of Marines there. Obviously softens up all the other Marines with that Stim. Yeah, now Serral is going to try to maybe get a wrap around this army. Clem is forced to Stim again. I would say maybe it was better to run into this little choke point, and you would have been able to get a slightly better trade. But losing all these Marines for so little cannot possibly be something that Clem is very excited over. Kind of feels that Clem is already in trouble as we now are going to salvage that bunker. So we're going to open the doors, but there's so many links. We only have 9 Marines on the side of Clem. Clem is going to end up losing a ridiculous amount of SCVs here, and this could very well be it already. I don't know if Clem can ever economically recover from this. Losing 10 SCVs. In the end, it does seem that Serral at least wants to save a couple of his links, or didn't want to lay down the hammer all that hard, but I mean, the supply does not lie. To quote the great Johan Merlo. 20 worker advantage for Serral, a 40 supply lead. It's been an excellent series, but it seems that game 4 is a bit of a disaster. I don't know why Serral went back. I think he could have just kept A moving there, and sure, eventually all the links would die, but he would have probably killed another 10 SCVs. And I really think Clem would have been dead, but or maybe he just wants to put on a bit of a show for you guys. I mean, Clem is just so outnumbered at this point. It's very rough. 0-0 upgrades obviously on these Marines. Cannot mine of this third base yet. Nightmare game 4 so far for Clement. And it all started with the way that those Reapers died. Felt like the Reapers had some potential. The micro initially was good, but Serral leaving those queens here on the high ground gave him such a tempo advantage in this game. Now it feels that this entire map is going to be purple. I don't even know what Clem can do here. Seems like we're adding 3 more barracks, so we're going up to 7 barracks. A bit of a odd number. Quite literally. Gonna throw down a scan in the center of the map and at least push back the creep a tiny bit. There's so much creep everywhere. The queen count is still so high. We have Lings and Banes for days. Nice trade there for Clem. Gets a decent amount of Zerglings. Does have the 1-1 upgrades. And I guess as long as you have the upgrade lead, you can take some better trades. Baneling speed is 80% done. If Serral wants, he can already burrow a couple of Banelings. And he burrows a single Baneling. Over a few more. Clem does find a queen. But Clem needs a little more than a queen. There is no bunker at the third. There are a couple of tanks though. And those tanks are getting some very big shots off. Baneling speed will finish up in 3 seconds. Clem has a couple of Marines coming in from the left side. The queens are all by themselves. This is very risky. And if Clem sees this, he can maybe make a forward stim and make a dive on these queens. Clem is going to get perhaps all 5. Okay. Well, that wasn't all that hot by Serral. And I think Serral is in a good enough spot that he can survive. But you don't want to do that again. He's still up 23 workers, he's still up a base, and has 5 queens left over, so... And we're even in upgrades, and the 2-2 upgrades are even further ahead for Serral than they are for Clem. And I think the links on burrowed and a bit of splash damage of the tank killed a few more SCVs. Yeah, that wasn't too hot. With the position that Clem is in, I don't think that Clem is ultra excited after this, but... kind of start believing, and if there is one guy that you don't want to give a bit of momentum, it is probably Clem in this matchup. Because Clem can obviously go Super Saiyan and all of a sudden start sniping Banelings everywhere. At this point, I don't love it yet for Clem. No matter how good that looked, I still don't love this game for Clem. But perhaps there is some something to get done here with all these medevacs in enemy territory and the lack of anti-air because a lot of the queens got picked off earlier. Clem is doing his absolute best to find an opening, but it's so hard. We don't want to lose that medevac with cargo, but 5 Marines do die inside of that medevac. It's a little bit painful. They are both incredibly good, but it's going to be a very hard game for Clem. The start was, I think, way too rough. He is battling. And all the kudos to Clem for not just giving up and trying to still make something of this game. But it feels like a bit of an unfair fight. He is going to try though. The 2-2 upgrades are done now for Serral, guys. Serral is the one with an upgrade advantage. There is not a great SimCity here. There is not a safety bunker either. And a single tank is obviously not going to keep you safe. I could have a couple of burrowed banelings here, maybe. I would love it. I feel like this is a perfect moment to burrow a couple of banks. Serral will not go for it. He's just going to shove them in. How's that orbital doing? Okay, the orbital is low on HP. Is there an opening for Clem on the bottom side of the map? There is not, as banelings are good enough to keep Serral safe. And that will do it. The third time that these two ran into each other in 2 weeks. And the final score in series is 2-1 in favor of the great Jonas Sedala. BASILISK Serral brings it home. A 3-1 victory over Clem. And perhaps he lets us know that that Masters Coliseum was a bit of a slip-up. As he did win in the pigsty 4-3. And he wins tonight 3-1. I think the first 3 games were absolutely fantastic. With both of them really pushing each other to the limit. The final game, unfortunately, the most one-sided one of them all, but still good. I missed the first map. Was it close? Yeah. All 3 games, the first 3, I think, were all very close for quite some time. Is this live? It was. It's no longer live because it's officially done. Serral gets a 3-1 victory. Somebody's asking for an interview, but I just did an interview with Serral after winning the WTL. Or well, the Masters Coliseum that's run by the guys of WTL. That was like a 15-minute interview. And also it's 1 hour later in Finland than it is for me. For me it is 10:30. For Serral it's 11:30. If I DM Serral right now, if he wants to do an interview, he's going to perma block me. And since we got the WTL code S to get ready for, I am not going to put in that request. Let the man enjoy some well-deserved rest. And on top of that, I had a very long day too, so I am pretty much done with it as well for today. Thank you to BASILISK for 10 additional subbies for our 4th best of 5. We can go over the results one more time. What a day for the Finnish nerds, eh? Mixu with that big 3-0 over Night Phoenix in the co-main event. And Serral getting the final victory over Clem in the third time they've met in 2 weeks. A 3-1 victory. Second time that he wins in the Big Brain Bouts. Last time it was a 3-0, this time it's a 3-1. Maybe in 30 weeks we'll do it again, and then it could be a 3-2. And we finally get that Game 5 that we are looking for. But I think it was awesome. I think it was a great night of video games. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm happy to be back. I had a 10 out of 10 time in Bulgaria, but it's obviously always nice to be home again. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look and settle that prediction. I know you guys were massively voting for Yona. Choose prediction, 69%. Nice. All right, we can wrap up the night with a whole bunch of nice. 69% of the points were put on Yona. And the man delivered once more. He gets $150, obviously. Clem gets $50 for playing the best of 5. And that will do it for this Friday night of video gaming. On Sunday, guys, I will be casting again. Since Cuckoo is running a tournament together with his orc, Red Pack. And Cuckoo really wants me to cast, so I will gladly cast some games on Sunday. I think tomorrow, I'll be kind of chilling. I feel like there was something I have to do tomorrow, but I can't really think of what it is. So I will stream, obviously. We'll play a couple games. Maybe we'll do a couple custom games on the new patch and the new map, so we can take a little look at those. But I'll worry about that tomorrow. For today, I am done. I'm going to eat because I'm kind of hungry. Oh, yeah, we have to race, but that is not during the day. I will be there, Jeremy. I will make the Americans proud. If I need to race at 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning, I'll be there, mate. Yeah, that's Sunday morning. Exactly, that's not... If I think of tomorrow, I think of when I wake up and what I'm going to do throughout the day. But yeah, that's all, guys. I'm tired, so I'm going to wrap it up. I think it was an excellent stream. I'm very happy with it. I hope you guys had fun, too. And shout out to all the players. We can take one final look at the results of these 4 best of 5s before I send you guys elsewhere. We had 4 series up at 3, guys, with a very sexy split in that final game against the Disruptor. I don't want to say that is the biggest peak that I've ever seen Cell have in his career, but geez Louise, was that sexy. He gets the 3-0 over TKL. Cuckoo and Hydra had one hell of a best of 5, very entertaining stuff. But in the end, Cuckoo looked slightly more solid across the board, and he brought it home. Mixu had, without trying to be too dramatic and get too carried away, one of the best of 5s that I've ever seen him play. and he looked amazing from start to finish with a 3-0 over Night Phoenix. And then we had an excellent main event with Serral and Clem. Congrats to all 8 nerds for A, winning a couple dollars, and B, thank you for entertaining us. And that's all I got. Let's go ahead and host someone. Who do we host tonight, guys?